Hey everyone, my name is Matt Hoff. I'm Quexington on Keybase, and in this video, we're going to walk through issuing a multiple issuance cat on testnet. This video is based off of the previous video that I did about the one-time issuance of a cat. So if you haven't already seen that one, maybe go back and watch it first, just so that you make sure that you have all of the tools that you need set up and you're familiar with the basic cat command. Okay, so the tail that we're looking at here is the tail that we're going to be issuing. Before we dive too deep into that, let me just make sure that I still have everything. I still have my cloned repository and I'm still in the virtual environment. If I type cats help, I still have something. If I type cdv help, I still have something come up. I also still have a full node that is synced. And I have a wallet in which I have just minted myself the single time issuance of Quex coin. There is only ever one of these because it was a one-time issuance. I can never mint anymore. But what if I want to make a token that I can issue multiple times on multiple separate occasions? In fact, what if I want to make a token in which I can just make a new tail later on if I want to? That's what I'm going to be showing you today. And it's a little bit more of a complex process than our one-time issuance, but not that much. We'll identify the differences as we go through it. Let's go ahead and talk about the Chialisp here. So this looks very similar up top here to our previous tail that we were looking at, the Genesis by coin ID. But the big difference here is that we take a solution and we're currying in a pub key rather than a coin ID. So what we're deciding here is that this pub key is going to be able to sign new tails. This is delegated puzzle and delegated solution, which is basically if you have a signature, the condition is down here, if you have a agsic unsafe signature on the tree hash, the puzzle hash of another tail, then you can go ahead and run that tail instead of this tail. So what this basically gives us the ability to do is publish new tails to the network, and we can do really cool things. Like, well, first of all, we can do more issuances on our own if we'd like to, but we can also publish tails that allow people to melt their coins in exchange for other ones as long as they follow certain rules. Maybe melt their coins if they pay you a certain amount. Very cool stuff like that. You can have distributed issuance and melting, which is a very cool feature of the Chia asset token. But other than that, this tail is not so complex. Tails tend not to be very complex, even though this allows for arbitrary functionality. Really, all we're doing is asking for a signature on the tree hash of a puzzle, and then just running that puzzle with its solution. We are using this puzzle as a delegator, which means that we need to have a tail that we delegate to run when we actually run this tail. And the tail that we're going to delegate is the one that we did in the last video, which is Genesis by coin ID. If you were to do multiple issuances, but you don't really care about thinking in the future, you just want to do an issuance now, it's probably a good idea to delegate the Genesis by coin ID tail, because this is a one-time issuance. So by signing a one-time issuance, you are basically making sure that this signature is never valid again. You are doing an issuance once, and then there are no other issuances that can happen until you sign the next issuance. Okay, so with the Chialisp logistics out of the way, let's go ahead and start crafting this cat command. I have our terminal up here. I'm going to clear it, and I'm actually going to bring up a second terminal, and we'll see why shortly. So I have two terminals here. We'll do them side by side like that. Okay, so we have our terminals. Let me get into the venv in this one as well. cd documents cat issuance, activate the venv, and clear. So we have two identical terminals here. So we're going to start crafting our cats command. Once again, it's very helpful to bring up the help before you do so. And let's go ahead and start. So cats. First, we start with the tail. The tail that we need, again, we have this in our reference tails folder. Reference tails, delegated tail, .clsp.hex. Next, our curry. What we don't know is the solution, and I will get to that in a moment. So curry, and we're going to need a pub key. So let me go ahead and go to my other terminal here and get a pub key. If I go Chia keys show, it'll bring up pub keys. It doesn't really matter which one we take because this is like a separate pub key for issuance. This has nothing to do with the wallet, but I'm just going to go ahead and take my master public key here, because it is a little bit, it's just the smallest path. Curry, make sure that when you're currying in bytes, you prefix it with 0x. There we go. And now we need a solution. So this is the thing that we don't know. The reason that we don't know it, if we go over here, is that, remember, we're passing in the tail that we want to run instead of this tail. And the tail that we want to run is Genesis by coin ID. And that puzzle has a curried in argument that, again, as we learned from the last video, we don't know until we actually select the coin that we're going to spend. So we're going to have to skip the solution for now, much like we skipped the curry argument in the last one. But once we have the curry argument, we can construct this full puzzle, and then we'll be able to pass it into the delegated tail. So let me go back to our terminals here. So we're going to skip the solution for now. send to. Again, we need just a wallet address. I'll go ahead and bring this over here. There we go. Amount, let's mint more this time. 10,000, I guess. We'll have 10 cats this time. Again, it's very interesting to note that with cats, you decide how much they're worth. If you were doing a stable coin or something and you wanted to say that $1 equals 1 cat mojo, to mint that cat, it costs you 1 mojo, fractions of a penny. So you kind of pay for granularity in that way. If you wanted to be able to do cents, then you have to mint 100 mojos per dollar that you were planning to represent with the cat. So that's an interesting thing to think about when you're minting your cat, is how much granularity do I want and how much is that going to cost me in regular XCH to mint my cat. But that's tangential to this. We're just going to use 10,000 as an arbitrary amount for right now. Fee, I showed you in the last one, it works. We don't need to worry about that right now. Signature. So we also do not know the signature at the moment because remember, if we look at our Chialisp again, what we are signing is the tree hash of the delegated puzzle, which is the thing that we don't know. So we're going to have to skip the signature as well for right now and then come back to it after we've selected our coin. Terminals again. Additional spends, again, this is not anything that belongs with any of the reference tails. Right now we can just skip it. As bytes, we just want this because we're using the Chia dev tools and it's easier to paste bytes than it is to paste JSON. And select coin, remember we're running this for the first time to select the coin, and then after that we'll run this command again without this flag to actually issue the cat. So we've got our way down the help list. Let's go ahead and run the command. As you can see, it selected a coin for us. We again have a pretty sizable coin. And we're going to go ahead and take note of this Genesis ID here, our coin's name. Let me write it down. Genesis ID. All right. So now we've done the command, we've selected our coin, and now we can actually create our full delegated tail, much like we created last one. Now, we are creating this tail separately from doing the issuance, so we actually need to do Chia dev tools to curry it this time, but that's no big deal. We do CDV, CLSP, curry. Oops. And then we specify our reference tails, Genesis by coin ID, .hex. And then as an argument, we pass in our Genesis ID with a 0x prefix, again, very important. Otherwise, it will be registered as a string in CLVM. And then we paste that in here and we run that. As you can see, it spits out our puzzle here. Again, very important that the 0x is there. Otherwise, this would be in quotes. We'll just leave that from there and we'll copy paste it. We're going to run the exact same command again because we also need the tree hash of this program. So we're just going to add the tree hash flag and get its SHA-256 tree as well. So now we actually know the solution, right? We're passing in the delegated puzzle and the delegated solution. If you remember from the last video, the Genesis by ID tail does not require a solution. So let's go ahead and construct that right now. We're going to have to do it in a CLVM syntax. So we start with all solutions, just an empty list. If we go to the Chialisp here, our first argument is the delegated puzzle. So we'll go ahead and copy this and just paste it right in there. And our second argument is our solution, which again, the Genesis by ID does not have a solution, so we're just going to pass in nil. And that's our full solution to the delegated tail. We're passing in the tail that we want to run as well as the tail solution. Okay, the last thing that we need is the signature. Like I said, we're signing the tree hash of the delegated tail signature. And so that's why we took note of it over here. So let's go ahead and copy this. And then let's just look at the help for cheat keys sign. Okay, so delete the help. And then, so the message that we're signing that tree hash. This one does not know about CLVM, so you just paste it as it is. The fingerprint of the wallet, I just cleared the terminal, so I'm going to have to do that again real quick. One moment. Cheat keys show. There we go. All right, so the fingerprint that we're signing with is this one. This is where the public key that we copied earlier came from. The path, it shows the path next to all of the keys, so our path was M. And again, we're signing this message as bytes. This is the equivalent of putting 0x in the other commands. We just add this -b flag. And then we go ahead and say sign, and it spits us out a signature. It's probably good just to verify that the public key that it says it's signed with is the one that you curried into the delegated tail. That looks good for us. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this signature. So just go ahead and paste it in there. And that should be our full command. So we're going to go ahead and run it. And we get our expected wall of text a little bit bigger this time. And we're going to take note of our asset ID again. Let me go ahead and write that down. Asset ID. And now we copy our giant spend bundle. There it is. CDV RPC push TX, just like in the last video. We push it, we hit enter, we get success. And then if we go over here, let's go back to our Chia wallet. Again, it doesn't disappear from our wallet immediately. It will in a moment. So let's wait a moment for that to happen. Okay, we can see now that our 10,000 mojos was taken out of our wallet. So let's go ahead and add our next token here. What should we name this one? We'll just call this, I don't know, I'm not creative. Quex coin 2, the sequel. And we're going to copy our asset ID. We're going to paste it. We're going to add it to our wallet. And as you can see, we have our 10 minted cats. Remember, we minted 10,000 mojos, but that translates to 10 total cats just by default in our GUI. So we have our 10 cats here. Now, really quick, I want to speed run the issuance process again to prove that it can be issued multiple times. So let's go back to our terminals here. We'll go up to when we did the select coin. All of this should be exactly the same. The only thing that's changing is our Genesis ID because we're minting it again. So we're going to run this one more time. It's going to select a new coin for us that has a little bit less mojos in it. And we're going to copy that name and we're going to take note of it again. Okay. Now we need to go ahead and fill in the rest of it. So we get rid of select coin. Now we're filling in our solution. And let's just be really quick about this. We'll even skip the curry part. We'll just go up to where we did it before. Here. And we'll just manually fix it in the CLVM. Copy this again. Okay, we need a new signature as well. Give it a minute to delete. And we need to sign this new puzzles tree hash. So let me grab it. We'll put it in quotes. CDV Chialisp tree hash. We have our tree hash. We're gonna go Chia keys sign. We can just copy the one from above. And we'll get rid of this tree hash. And paste our new one. All right, we have a new signature. The pub key again is the one that we curried in. We copy this signature, we paste it here. We run the command. We can verify that our asset ID is the same because the delegated tail puzzle didn't change. Remember, just what we were passing into it. So this is the exact same asset ID that we had before. So now we copy this spend bundle once again. CDV RPC push TX. Bad aggregate signature. I must have signed something incorrectly. Okay, I see what I did wrong. In my rush to do this as fast as possible to keep the video as short as possible, I accidentally copied the entire solution. So what we were tree hashing was not correct. So we're going to run this command again, but we're going to get rid of the extra parentheses and the extra nil. There we go. We're going to run that. That is the correct puzzle hash that we were supposed to sign. So if we go back up to Chia keys sign, we replace that with the actual correct puzzle hash. And then we fit our command with that signature instead. we get another spend bundle that we can push. CDV RPC push TX. And this time we get status success true. So we go back to our wallet here. We see that it has 10 right now. Now, if we wait a minute, we will watch the newly issued cats pop up into our wallet as well. All right, and as you can see, the balance showed up in our wallet. We minted ourselves 10 more cats. So we can prove that this tail allows us to do multiple issuance. And again, if anyone saw our spend on the network and tried to copy it, it wouldn't work because their cats would not be being issued from the Genesis ID that we carried in. That's why we had to get a new one when we did the issuance again. The naming doesn't work quite yet, so I have to rename this to QuexCoin 2. But other than that, then we're good. And I have 20 QuexCoin 2. I have the one that we minted in the last video. And this is the kind of wide range of what you can do as far as how often you can issue with cats. You can issue whenever you want, or you can make it so that everyone knows exactly what the supply is. You only issued once. And there's lots of other cool things that you can do with tails. Feel free to drop into our Keybase and ask us some questions about what you can do with cats. We'll check your tails for security issues for you if you'd like. Mostly just have fun issuing this stuff on testnet and on mainnet if you think you're ready. And we're excited to see what you guys come up with.